Hey, Wesley Asera here. So, chapters 7 and 8 activities. For starters, my history. I was born here in Memphis, and I've lived here my whole life. Um, you know, but who knows? I might end up moving some point. Besides the point, there are a multitude of anecdotes, events that have impacted my life, made me who I am today. A few examples. Family deaths at various ages, um, making new friends. Uh, I switched high schools, which was it was a tough time, but I came out of it really in a really good place because I made a lot of new friends. And luckily, I've been able to hold on to friends since the dawn of my education. I mean, my friend that I've had for the longest time, I've had for like actually 15 years. I met him in kindergarten. Just I'm very lucky to I have a good support system. I've always had a good support system. I have a lot of friends, and most of my family members are actually pretty cool. Contrary to what some people might say, I don't know. Um, History of my family. I mean, my grandfather, my paternal grandfather was born here, but he's like fully Italian. His parents came over from Italy. I'm not sure about a lot of my other branches of family. Um, I know that on my maternal side, it's like a lot of country people, like Mississippi type stuff. So I'm like, um, stories have always been told. It's mostly just like stuff about my mom's past. My mom is a lot more vocal than my dad about anecdotes and stories, and my mom has told me a lot of stuff about like a lot of people in our family, or where she was when this happened, where she was when this happened. I mean, I've heard multiple times like where she was when 9/11 happened. She was watching TV with me as an infant in her arms. There's just so much um, stories that I don't know about or don't know enough about and would like to know more. I guess more stuff about my late grandparents, particularly my paternal grandparents, my Italian grandfather, and I guess a lot more about my dad because I've seen a lot of older pictures of him, looking like a like a hippie basically. Uh, but that's a culture I can really respect. And I don't really know if he was really in the counterculture movement, but I mean, he had the aesthetic. He seemed like a cool guy. I have older parents, so it's like, I'll never fully understand how they were as people closer to my age. Because I mean, the older you get, I mean, the more things that have made you who you are. You know. Um, I mean, as people, we're probably more similar to strangers than our younger selves. At least that's something Vsauce said one time. As for chapter 8, my, collective history beyond my family, I'm very fortunate as to not have been affected by any wars, to my knowledge, like really affected, like my family. Um, I mean, there are global events or like national events that have impacted my family, sure, but none significantly, none that have really changed the way that I live. But one thing that does really come to mind is the trend in 60s households, 50s households, 70s households where the father figure is so willing to abandon their family or start another family, like spread their seed or whatever. Um, and my maternal grandfather, my mother's father, was an abandoner, and I just see him as being part of this grand trend across the collective United States. Um, and I didn't really know this until like I was a teenager because he was still in my life as a child. Like I knew who he was. So I guess at some point he came back in. I don't know. I don't really know. But that, I was never too close to my maternal grandparents, but I know that it affected my family. I know that it affected my uh, you know, um so I guess stuff like that makes me more understanding of other family members' struggles. Just, just a national trend of neglect that swept the nation. I mean, there's a reason why deadbeat dad is a known category of fathers. You know, so it is what it is. Uh, as far as things other than like real trends or something like that, I mean, it's kind of hard to pin this kind of stuff down. Um, how do these moments in history contribute to where we are now? Trauma and abuse are, cyclical. They're cycles. I think I said that word right. They're cycles. Um, but we as people are able to step back and really assess situations and really find the root of things if we put our minds to it and learn to understand things and learn to put an end to the cycle. I've never been like abused or anything, but I mean, everyone is deeply impacted by their past, and those are like really negative past. They begin to see the world through a negative light, and it's our duty as people to really catch on to these rhythms, catch on to these cycles, and prevent it from happening to our own kin, and whenever possible, prevent it from happening to other families, other children. I mean, I guess that's part of the reason that I've pursued teaching, to ensure that you know. I guess I'm rambling here. Finally, gosh, yeah. I mean, our history makes us. Our history is everything, really. I mean, the way our brain works is entirely dependent on how our brain has reacted to things for the past however long we've been around. One day we were just around, but and nowadays we're just here. But that time between point A and point B I mean, at this point I'm just kind of spitting out common sense. Time progresses, things change, and as people, hmm, we have to try to deal with change in the best way possible, in the healthiest way possible, in ways where we don't feel unfulfilled. I guess I'm talking more so about learning from history rather than like history itself impacting me or anybody, but I'd like to think that this rambling was legible and understandable. Um, but history is everything, and thanks for listening.